Hey everybody, this is Andre here with the Kevin Breeze channel, and in this video, we're going to be comparing the Motorola Moto G Power 2021 to the Apple iPhone 12. Let's get started. So the Moto G Power has a 6.6-inch IPS LCD display with a resolution of 720p, a PPI of 266, an aspect ratio of 20:9, and a screen-to-body ratio of 83.8%. There's a hole punch front-facing camera right here, which I really like. This design looks really great. And this camera is 8 megapixels. The iPhone 12 has a 6.1-inch OLED display with a resolution of 1170 by 2532, a PPI of 460, an aspect ratio of 19.5:9, and a screen-to-body ratio of 86%. This phone has a notch right here, and the front-facing camera is in here, as you can see right there. And this camera is 12 megapixels. Now the Moto G Power has a much larger display than the iPhone 12. It is very large, and for content consumption, that's definitely a good thing. But on the other hand, the iPhone 12 has an OLED display with a much higher resolution and PPI, so the quality of the image is going to be a lot better. It's going to be sharper, the colors will be brighter overall. So if you're doing something where the quality really matters a lot, or if you don't really want such a big phone, then the iPhone 12 would have its advantages. Now the Moto G Power 2021 has 32 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD card expansion. Keep in mind there's another variant that has 64 gigabytes of storage and slightly more RAM in the processor as well. But this is the 32 gigabyte version that has 3 gigabytes of RAM in its processor. The iPhone 12 has 64 gigabytes of internal storage, and it doesn't have any microSD card expansion. There are also other variants of this phone that have 128 gigabytes and 256 gigabytes respectively. Now in terms of storage, the iPhone definitely has an advantage in this specific situation. 64 gigabytes, in my opinion, is a bit of a minimum, but it still is a much better amount of storage than this variant of the Moto G Power that only has 32. To give you an idea of what this looks like, right now the system itself is taking up 14 gigabytes of storage, which is very close to half of the total available storage on this phone. Now in comparison, the iPhone has double that storage, so it really wouldn't be that bad on the iPhone in comparison to the Moto G Power. This just goes to show how important it is these days to have more storage than you need, because not only apps but also the system is all getting larger and larger. So it's definitely important that you get a phone with enough storage for you to do the activities you want to do comfortably. Now there's no wireless charging on the Moto G Power, but there is wireless charging on the iPhone. Wireless charging is a really nice feature to have. It is a good alternative to plugging in your phone, and I do hope that in the future, more lower end phones and mid-range phones get wireless charging. Now both of these phones have face unlock, but the Moto G Power has a fingerprint scanner and the iPhone 12 does not. Not only this, but the fingerprint scanner on the Moto G Power is located in the best possible spot. So we're going to test that out real quick and see how it performs. One more time. As you can see here, the fingerprint scanner is very fast and responsive, and I don't think Face Unlock can unlock a phone that fast. Putting your finger on the power button and just having it unlock right away is so convenient. I think that's really hard to beat. So security-wise, the Moto G Power definitely does have that advantage over the iPhone 12. Now taking a look at the camera setup of these phones, the Moto G Power has a 48 megapixel rear camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. The iPhone 12 has a 12 megapixel rear camera and a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. Now I really don't know why they didn't include an ultra wide camera on the Moto G Power as well, since it has a macro camera and a depth sensing camera and such a high megapixel rear camera. It really wouldn't have been that hard, but at least the iPhone does have one, so that is good in favor of the iPhone. So these are pictures taken with the rear cameras of each phone. This one was taken by the Moto G Power, and as you can see, it is very crisp and well detailed. The colors are decently balanced and the exposure is handled adequately. Now this is a photo taken with the rear camera of the iPhone 12. I would say the iPhone 12 definitely looks quite a bit better. The image is a lot more crisp, the colors are more vivid, and the brightness is a lot higher. Overall, it generally just looks better. That being said, this is really only going to matter so much. If you're taking pictures for professional purposes, then definitely the iPhone 12 is going to have its advantages. Whereas if you're taking pictures just for fun, or if you're using something like Snapchat where the quality doesn't matter, or if you're doing things like that, then the Moto G Power is most likely going to work out just fine, because this is a really good quality image, especially for the level that this phone is at. Now, these are pictures taken with a front-facing camera. I am pretty impressed with both front-facing cameras. The Moto G Power definitely has a really nice camera. The image is really sharp and the colors are well balanced. The lighting is good. The iPhone 12, however, is quite a bit better. The image is even sharper, the colors are even better, and the details of the shadows are a lot more vivid. I really like that about the iPhone. It really does take some really nice looking pictures as far as the lighting and all of that goes. So again, if you're taking photos for professional purposes, the iPhone is definitely going to be the better device as far as the camera goes. But if you're not, then the Moto G Power is most likely going to fit your needs just fine, and you might not even notice the difference so much. Now, video-wise, the Moto G Power shoots 1080p in both the rear and the front. The iPhone 12 shoots 4K in both the rear and the front. So again, if you're gonna be shooting a lot of 4K videos, then obviously the iPhone 12 is gonna be the phone for you, because the Moto G Power can't even shoot in 1080p. But if you're not, then you most likely don't need the iPhone 12, because this difference in performance comes with a huge difference in price, because the iPhone 12 is many times more expensive. Now, internally, the Moto G Power is getting 3 GB of RAM with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 662 processor. The iPhone 12 is getting 4 GB of RAM with the Apple A14 Bionic processor. Now, we're going to do a quick demonstration and see how fast these phones really are compared to each other. We're going to start by opening the respective browsers, which in this case is going to be Google Chrome for the Moto G Power and Safari for the iPhone. Now let's try a web page. As you can see, the iPhone was definitely a little bit faster. Let's try one more page. So as you can see, these are both very fast phones, but the iPhone is going to be a little bit faster. When I was pulling up pages on this phone, it was pulling up the websites so fast that you could barely even see it load, whereas it took a split second for the Moto G Power to load. The bottom line to this is the iPhone 12, being a flagship phone with a lot of processing power, is going to be much faster and much more powerful than the Moto G Power. But that being said, the only way you're going to get true value out of the iPhone 12, as you could see from that demonstration, is with more intense things that require a lot of processing power, where that's going to really come in play, because the Moto G Power is really at that point where you can't really get much faster when you're doing simple things like browsing the web. So having more processing power in that sense isn't really going to change your experience all that much. Whereas if you're doing something like photo and video editing or gaming, anything that takes an insane amount of processing power, then you're definitely going to benefit with the iPhone. Otherwise, if you don't need all of that, you're most likely going to be just fine with the Moto G Power. Now, battery-wise, there's a huge difference here. The Moto G Power has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery that supports 15-watt fast charging, whereas the iPhone 12 has a 2815 milliamp hour battery. iPhones are really known for their small batteries, and this is quite unfortunate, because this would be a pretty good device without that issue. That being said, the Moto G Power has a huge advantage, having almost double the battery power and being able to support fast charging. You're not only going to get more life out of it per charge, but it's also going to have more longevity in the long run. Now, in conclusion, which of these phones is better? In almost every way, the iPhone 12 is going to be the better device. Not only does it have a higher quality display and a better camera, it also has more storage. In this variant, at least, it has flagship features like NFC and wireless charging that the Moto G Power just doesn't. It can shoot 4K video, which the Moto G Power also doesn't, and it has much more processing power. That being said, the Moto G Power does have a fingerprint scanner that's so easy and convenient to unlock. And really, at the end of the day, if you're not going to be using the processing power in the camera and all the extra features on the iPhone to its fullest potential, you're most likely going to be better off with the Moto G Power anyway. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely leave a thumbs up and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.